Hi, and thanks for joining me. Today we're going to do a little video on how to handle some drop shipments. First of all, we're going to open a new sales order, so a customer walks in or calls on the phone, says, I need something. So we're going to do that here. I'm going to pick a customer. Any of these is fine. And let's create our order. So say drop or ship via. And let's use our UPS ground method here. Little pop-up window for shipping comes up. This can be turned off to, for the UPS shipping method if you want to. So let's assume this is not a residential delivery. Just leave it here. If you want to add the customer's notification email, go ahead and do that. Warehousing info, this should default. Let's just choose Portland for now. And department is also 200 Portland. That should default as well. If it's not on yours, let me know and I can show you how to do that. PO/job name. It's going to be whatever the customer gives you. So if he tells you it's PO number 1500 from his system, you can add that in there. Let's say our ship date. Let's pick the 12th of next week. Put in our ordered quantity. Obviously, the columns you don't need can be eliminated. Right-click on the header. Unselect the ones you don't want to see. Let's choose our inventory item. And we're just going to add in an item here. So, what happened here is we added the inventory item. And now there's a couple things that we need to look at. So let's say that we just so happen to not have any in stock here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go all the way over here to purchase method. So typically it's stocked, but for some reason we don't have it. And our vendor ID is 1390, so we got that. There is a dropship method here. So we're going to select dropship, continue adding orders to this if you want to, or items to this. But for now, let's just say this is the one item. And we will now link this sales order to a dropship purchase order. So we select a dropship, we have a vendor, and we have a quantity. Those are the three requirements in order to make this work. Go to Process. You can pause your video here if you want. Create Purchase Orders. There's a shortcut here called Control+G that also does the same thing. Save changes. There's a little freight message here. It's actually calculating the weight and UPS ground, so it's calling out to UPS for this rate table. So we can say yes, we're going to update it. And this is a handy little message that I believe Mark Roddy input, just to remind everyone to use the correct GLs. Shouldn't have to worry about it since we have the GL accounts set from the inventory item. Okay. Next, expense invoice entry. This is a purchase order to your vendor. 1 ordered, none received. Portland warehouse, the vendor part number and inventory. Over in linked, we see the customer or the invoice number and also the customer ID. This link can be accessed by right-clicking anywhere on this line and going to link document. This will take you right over to the sales order, and also conversely here in the linked shows the vendor ID, PO number, and the quantity received. You can again right-click, link document, take you right back to the purchase order. I'm going to hit escape once there and once here to close this window, back to our original PO. I can put in a description stating dropship or something to that effect. And ship via, I could input UPS and maybe my collect number or even the customer's collect number if that's needed. Okay. Now the interesting thing is that the ship to is also the customer's ship to. Pay to is still going to be the pay to vendor linked here at the original. So let's print this out just so that we see what the vendor sees. Purchase order plain paper. Say yes. Yes, our GL should be correct. I'll do a print preview here for you. Okay, vendor, handy button machine, ship to, airtime kite. So that's a drop ship. Description, drop ship if you need that. You can put in the UPS collect number if you want to put that in there. Any other instructions you want to add to the purchase order, you can also send to your vendor. So that's what's going to be sent to the vendor. That is how you do a drop ship order. So I'll finish this up with the final steps. Let's say the vendor gives me an invoice. Tells me, here's my invoice number. And let's say a couple days have passed. Let's say it is on the 12th. Put in my invoice date, and this received will now also mark the invoice or the sales order as shipped. I can check that. Right click, go to link document. Yes, I want to save changes, and you'll see this column here has now been filled in, and also the received is 1. So as soon as you save it on the purchase side, the sales order side gets updated, and now this is ready to be invoiced to the customer as well. So if you have a credit card / debit card you need to fill in, if you have one stored on their account, you can select it here or manually type it in. Also, you can pre-authorize it if you need to. The other thing you could do is cash or check. Obviously, those two are fairly simple to add in the payment methods here. So. Or if you just want to charge it, click on charge. If they have terms on their account, net 30 days, process and print, that's fine as well. Show a little print preview here. Here's our invoice, converted from a sales order to an invoice by the process, entered by username. We got some terms down here, also some freight, things like that. So. Hit escape to close this. Hit escape to close that one. Here's the expense invoice. If this is also to be charged, process, and that'll go then to the accounts payable. Okay. Thank you for watching.